Here's your Target 6 homework, just a few problems here, practicing writing an equation, given a graph or a point and a slope. So on these first two problems specifically, I'm going to use slope-intercept form to write my answer, y equals mx plus b. So looking at number 1, first thing I'm going to do is find the slope, and the way that I'll find slope is by doing rise over run. And it's kind of hard to tell where the points are here. I'm going to use this point, and it doesn't look like there's another solid point until down here. So rise over run, if I count, I'm going down, I believe that that's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah. Down 6, and I'm going over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So writing slope-intercept form, I'm going to start with y equals. The rise was down 6 over the run, which was positive 5, so negative 6/5. It makes sense that that slope is negative because it's going downhill. Then I can tell what the y-intercept is just by looking at the graph. I can see it crosses the y-axis up here at 4. So that would be my slope-intercept form of this equation. For number 2, it really gives me all the information I need. So still thinking about that slope-intercept form equation I just wrote, slope is m, the y-intercept is b. So we want y equals 3/4 x plus 1. I didn't even have to do any solving. I just had to look at the answer choices. The correct answer would be D. All right, so taking a look at number 3. So currently number 3 is in point slope form. So what I'm going to do is take that point slope form and we're going to put it in slope intercept form so that y equals mx plus b. So just like we practiced on our notes, we're going to start by distributing that 8. And then we're going to get y by itself by adding 5. And we have y equals 8x, and that would be minus 19. So that would be my final answer on number 3. On number 4, notice that all the answer choices are in slope-intercept form. But because it gives me the slope, which is m, and a point, remember the point would be x1, y1, we're going to actually start in point slope form. So I'm writing that form as a reminder from your notes. And I'm going to fill in that information based on what was given in the problem. So y minus y1, which would be y minus 1, equals 4/5 times x minus x1, which again would be 1. And then just like on number 3, since our answer choices are in slope-intercept form, we're going to take this point slope form and we're going to keep going to slope-intercept form so we can see which one matches. So I'm distributing the 4/5, and then we're going to add the 1. And so if we add the 1 over, we could actually use process of elimination at this point. There's only one answer that has 4/5 as the slope. So it would have had to be D, but we can check that the y-intercept is the same as well. And then our last problem, number 5, all it does is it gives us 2 points. So we could do several things. So one thing that we could do is we could actually just graph these 2 points, and then it's just like that first problem where we write the equation from the graph. What I'm going to choose to do is I'm going to take a little bit, maybe a harder, it might not be harder, I'm not sure, approach to this. And I'm going to think about what the slope would be, because I have to have slope for any of my forms, whether it's point slope form or slope intercept. And I'm going to use the slope formula. So remember, for the slope formula, use x2, y2, x1, y1. And so it's the y's on top. So y2 minus y1, which would actually become plus y1 because it's a negative, over x2 minus x1. So again, because it was a negative, I made that a plus. So the slope here is going to be 5/3, which does not simplify, so I'm going to leave that as is. Now there's two things we can do. We could go back to point slope form in a very similar way that we did to number 4. Or if you can recognize that 0, 1, if you were to graph the point 0, 1, that would be on the y-axis. So that's actually telling you your b value. So we can say y equals 5/3 x plus 1. But again, if you went through a process that's very similar to number 4, that's totally great. You should get the same thing either way. And that is your Target 6 homework.